Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another 5 looks 1 palette, and the palette for this video is this one right here. This is the new Huda Beauty New Nudes palette. If you guys saw my last video, I did a review on this palette already, and I also did one look with it during that review. So I'll link that video in the description box down below if you guys want to check it out. Whenever I do this 5 looks 1 palette videos, I use every single shade that is in the palette so that you guys can see how to use them all. However, in this video, I did not use the color Infatuated, but I did use it in the look that I did when I filmed the review video. So if you guys want to see a look with that color specifically, make sure you check that link on the description box. Other than that, every single one of these shadows, except for that one, is used on the 5 looks that I have on this video. And as always, I would love it if you guys let me know in the comments down below which look 1 through 5 is your favorite one. I'm always interested in knowing which look you guys like best. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, please. It really helps me out. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Patty, and I would love it if you subscribed. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter if you guys want to keep up with me and see what I'm doing when I'm not uploading to YouTube. And let's not delay this any longer. Let's just go ahead and get started with this 5 looks 1 palette video.
Okay, so let's get started with this look number 1. I grabbed my Sephora collection number 57 brush, which is a concealer brush, and my favorite thing to use it for is to prime my eyelid with cream shadows. And the color I'm using is the color Concealed, which is the cream shadow that she gave us for this palette. And after putting that one all over, I switched to a Sephora like big fluffy brush and the color Bare, which as you can see, it's like a bone color. It's just like a little bit off-white, and I put that one all over the eye so that it wasn't sticky anymore. With that same brush, I grabbed the color Lace, and I used that one as a transition color. So you see me here blending back and forth, doing windshield wiper motions, and I'm going back and grabbing a little bit of more lace a little bit at a time, and that way I am going to just build it to the opacity that I want. So you can see here I'm just kind of almost getting to that point, and you see that I leave a space between the upper crease and the brow. Then I switched over to my Morphe M433, which is a small blending brush. Any small blending brushes will work for this, and the color I'm using is the color Tickle. So I'm putting Tickle on the outer corner of the eyelid and also the inner corner, and I'm making that color meets at the top on the crease. And if you haven't guessed it by now, we are going to be doing a halo eye for look number 1. I decided that I wanted to intensify those colors a little bit more, and so I'm using the color Tease, which is just a little bit deeper on that same Morphe brush, and I am intensifying the inner eyelid and the outer corner of the eyelid, and again making the colors meet at the top. I just wanted something a little bit darker to intensify the look. I went back to my big fluffy brush that I started the look with, and I made sure that everything was blending on the upper crease. Then with the color Concealed once again in my Sephora collection number 57 concealer brush, I brightened up the center of the eyelid to prep it for the next color, and the color that I am patting on right now is Charmed. So I'm putting Charmed with my number 15 brush from Sephora collection, which is just like a small like shader brush. I'm just making sure that I press that color all over the center of the eyelid. I take it all the way up to the crease, as you can see me doing here, and I'm just patting it in place. I then went ahead and used my finger just to make sure that it was as opaque as I could possibly make it. And then I used a very tiny blending brush for Morphe. This one is the M506. I think I need multiples of these brushes because I use it so much. I love it. And the color I'm using it with is color Love Bite. And this is kind of like the darkest color I think on this palette. So I'm putting it on the outer corner to intensify it even more, and also on the inner corner, making it meet at the top. That's just the way a halo eye goes. And I am making sure that it's nice and diffused and that there aren't any harsh lines. So that's why you see me going to my fluffier, bigger brushes that I was using at the beginning, just to make sure that everything is blending and that I don't have any type of harsh line. I'm also making sure that I make it meet the outer corner of my eye so that when we put the eyeshadows at the bottom later, it all looks very cohesive. Then I grabbed the color Daydream, which is a really beautiful, like, pale shimmery pink, and I'm using it in the inner corner of my eye. And moving on to the bottom, I went ahead and did some foundation and concealer. I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed that. So I'm using a very teeny tiny brush in the color Love Bites, and I am kind of putting it really close to my lower lash line so that it makes my eye very defined under there. I'm also making sure it meets the outer corner, and I'm just putting it on the inner part there too, because I was thinking that it wasn't as dark as I had left it. And then I used the color Lace so that it would blur any like harsh lines that might have occurred. So you see me applying it at the bottom and just rectifying the top as well. And then the last step is just intensifying the inner corner just a little bit more. Here's a little bit of a creamy light colored eyeliner and the waterline, and this is the final look. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about look number 1. So as you can see, it's just like a nice pinky halo eye. I know what color of lipstick I'm wearing in this one, so I'll let you know, because you guys always ask me and I never know which one you're talking about, because there's 5 different looks in my video. So this is YSL Tatouage lipstick in number 25. And let's get started with look number 2. So this one I am starting with the color Play, and I am putting it on the crease of the eye, upper crease of the eye, leaving a space between the crease and the eyebrow, of course. And I'm using a big fluffy brush from Sephora collection to do this. I did prime my eyes with a little bit of concealer, but I didn't use the color Concealed from the palette for this look. And then with my Morphe M433 brush and the color Teddy, I am building the outer corner of the eye to intensify it a little bit more. So as you can see, I'm just patting on the outer corner of my eyelid and making it a little bit just built into the crease of the eye so that it darkens up the overall look. And I just do this until I see no harsh lines. Then I'm grabbing the color Raw, and with the same brush, I'm just like patting it on the outer corner of my eye. I found that patting sometimes helps to diffuse really nicely too. And I'm also putting a little bit of Raw underneath my lower lash line so that it meets with the top as well. And in this case, I already had foundation and concealer on, so I went ahead and did that from the beginning. Normally, I do my eyes first, so I will wait to do this till the end. So I'm just still using the color Raw to build my lower lash line because I wanted it to look nice and smoky. And yeah. Then I grabbed the color Kinky, which is a really pretty like purpley shimmery shade. I love it. And with my number 15 brush from Sephora collection, I'm putting it on the outer corner of my eyelid. So as you see, I'm just patting it in place there. And then I grabbed the color Concealed with a concealer brush, and I put this one all over the beginning part of my eye just to make sure it would like have a nice base, because I knew I was going to put a lighter shade there, so I wanted it to not be too dark so that it would look nice and light. And the color of my choice was the color Daydream. So with my same number 15 brush, I normally just clean it in between shades. I am patting the color Daydream on the first 2/3 of my eyelid all the way up to the crease. This is not technically a cut crease, but it's not diffused at the top either, so it's kind of like a cut crease. I don't think cut creases are flattering on my eye shape, so we'll call it not a cut crease, but it could be one. Anyways, I'm going back with the color Kinky, making sure they meet nicely kind of in the center of the eyelid there. So I'm just kind of blending and tapping and blending and tapping. Then I went back with the color Spanked and my concealer brush, no, my blending brush, and I'm just building that outer corner a little bit more. And as you see here, I got innovative and with the same little shadow protective thing that the Huda palette comes with, I used the color Love Bites and that nice little edge to create a smoky wing. It took me a couple of tries. I didn't get it on the first one. I was kind of going back and blending, and then I'm like, well, maybe if we can do it a little bit darker, it'll look even better. So I went back and I made it a little bit darker. It was tricky to place the the shadow protector exactly at the same place as I had done it the first time, but not impossible. So as you can see there, it looks even more nice and defined. I did my lashes, and in the inner corner of the eye, I'm putting the color Crave, which is a beautiful, beautiful shimmery shade, and I'm also putting it underneath a little bit. I used a black eyeliner this time for my waterline. I really, really liked the smoky wing. And winged eyeliner is usually something I don't do on myself because I don't think it's the most flattering thing on me either. But there was something about the smoky wing that I really, really like. It's because it was like it just blended into the smoky eye and it gave it a nice defined line and it just kind of looked pretty. I was into it. Let me know in the comments what you think about look number 2, guys. And we're starting look number 3 with the color concealed once again all over the eyelid. So you see me here applying it with the same number 57 brush from Sephora, from lashes to brow, from inner corner to outer corner. And one more time with the color Bare and a nice big fluffy brush, I'm putting it on top of the color concealed just to set it a little bit. And then I grabbed the color Secret with that same big fluffy brush and I started building up that shade on the upper crease of the eye, leaving a little space between the eyebrow. And I don't think I put any highlight color underneath the eyebrow. I just kind of left it there with the color Bare, which I normally do that because I honestly don't know why, but I don't love to have a super shimmery highlight underneath my brow. I like more of a matte highlighter there. Same fluffy brush, different color. I'm using the color Raw right now to build up the outer corner of the eye. As you can see, I'm doing some windshield wiper motions to like blend it in, but the first thing I did was pat the vast majority of that color on the outer corner of my eyelid. I tend to do that a lot. Always start where you want the color to be the most pigmented. So I always start on the outer corner for a smoky eye and then diffuse it. I'm using the color Spanked in a smaller blending brush from Morphe, and I'm patting it on the outer corner up to the crease of the eye, making sure it looks nice and blended. So I'm doing a little bit of back and forth on the crease, just making sure that I don't see any harsh lines. I grabbed my Too Faced glitter glue and a concealer brush, and I am tapping glitter glue all over 2/3 of my eyelid. So from the inner part of my eyelid, 2/3 of the way in, I'm adding a little bit of glitter glue because I wanted to use one of the glitters that the palette has, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to go anywhere. I know that you can use the color Concealed for this, but I wanted to make sure that my eyelids were extra sticky, and it worked fantastic for me. So with my number 15 brush and the color Excite, I am patting the loose glitter all over that area that I prepped for it. And I am going very, very carefully, and I am just patting the glitters in place so that it makes it very, very dense, and there you can't really like see my skin through the glitter. Was basically what we wanted to do. I always start on the inner corner because I wanted to eventually blend into the outer corner color. So as you can see, I'm not tapping here anymore. I'm more so kind of like patting and like blending a little bit so that it just mixes into the color that I put on the outer corner of the eye, without it looking super harsh. And I'm being very, very careful with the crease of the eye so that it doesn't go all over my crease either. To blend it further and darken up the outer corner a little bit more, I went back with the color Spanked and my very, very small fluffy brush to just make sure that things look nice back there and that there's no harsh lines. So it sometimes takes a little bit of going back and forth with different brushes just to ensure that you don't see a line where the colors mix. With my number 18 brush and the color Daydream, I am using this one for the inner corner of the eye. So as you can see, this one's very, very nice and shiny. And for this eye look, it worked great as an inner corner highlighter. I really, really liked it. Let's start with the bottom. At the bottom, I'm using the color Raw with my Morphe M506 brush. And I am blending the color Raw underneath my lower lash line. This was the darkest color that we used on the crease, so I wanted to make sure and transfer it to the underneath my eye basically. I am switching to the color Secret, and I am making sure that it diffuses the color Raw so that there aren't any harsh lines underneath my eye, and it just kind of looks nice and diffused just like the top of the eye looked. And as my last step, I added a little bit of Daydream to underneath the tear duct area of my eye. And this is the final look for look number 3. I gotta say this is one of my favorites, but it probably is because of the glitter, because you guys know I love glitter. On my lips, I have MAC's lip liner in Whirl with a lip balm, and I absolutely love it. It's the best lipstick I've ever had, I think. I loved it that much. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of look number 3. So let's start with look number 4, and for this one I wanted to do something a little bit different because the palette is kind of like mauvey pinks basically, and so I was starting to feel like a lot of the looks were going to look very similar, so I decided to do a look with the colors that were a little bit different in the palette. So the first color I'm using is the color Play, which is a little bit more of a peachy transition shade, and I'm using it on a fluffy brush going from outer to inner corner on top of the color Concealed, which I applied first. And I'm going to keep adding a little bit more Play at a time so that I get a nice dense color all over the upper crease of the eye. I'm obviously leaving a little window between my brow and the crease color, and I'm going back and forth, just making sure that it looks nice and opaque. To intensify the look a little bit, I started using the color Secret on the outer corner of the eye and blending it into the crease a little bit, and this helped to give the eye a little bit more depth. This is a more cool tone color, and as you can see, I'm adding more and more, building the opacity on the outer corner and bringing it into the lower crease a little bit so that it blends into the color Play that we had first used. Then with my Sephora number 15 brush and the color Crave, I'm putting this color all over the 2/3 of the eyelid. So I'm putting it starting kind of in the center and bringing it all the way to the inner corner of the eyelid. And I use my finger to make the color Crave a little bit more opaque, a little bit more pigmented so that it would shine a little more. And I went back and forth between the brush and using the tip of my fingers until I got to the desired intensity with this shiny color. I basically wanted this look to be very bright as opposed to the more like cherry tones, like the mauvey pinkies that I used for the first few looks. I'm going back with the color Lace and my fluffy brush and making sure that everything is just kind of blending together, and this one's softening my eye a little bit more. And here I'm just again intensifying that eyelid color because I wanted it to be extremely bright. Underneath my eye, I grabbed my M506 and the color Secret, and I started blending back and forth, making sure it met the top part on the outer corner, and just blending back and forth, making sure that it would diffuse. And for the inner corner, I used that same color Crave, just a little bit more, so that it would just also brighten the center of the eyelid. Lastly, I grabbed my blending brush and the color Tickle to add a little bit more dimension to the outer corner of my eye. So as you can see, I'm just patting it on the outer corner and blending it in a little bit. And that is the final look. I believe for this one, I'm also wearing the YSL Tatouage lipstick in number 25, and I put on a pair of Lily lashes that I have since thrown away because, let's face it, this is not what it should look like. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy this look as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I like that it was very bright. It is definitely, I think, one of my two top favorites. I think my top favorites are look number 3 and number 4. And last but not least, look number 5. I'm starting it using the color Conceal all over the eyelid one more time, from inner to outer corner, from lashes to brow. After I finish applying this color all over, I got my M504 from Morphe, which is just a big fluffy brush, and I'm patting the color Bare all over the eye to set the color Conceal and just to brighten up the whole eyelid area. My first step for a transition color is with the same brush and the color Lace, and I am just building the color Lace on the upper crease of the eye, leaving a little bit of space between the upper crease and the brow, of course. And I'm just building the opacity of that color by going back and forth and adding a little bit more at a time until I'm satisfied with the results. I switched to a little bit of a smaller blending brush, and I'm using the color Tease on the outer corner of the eye and bringing it into the crease of the eye ever so slightly. I'm doing little circles around the crease to make sure that the color diffuses very nicely. And again, just little by little, adding opacity to my look until I'm satisfied with the results. Then with the tip of my finger, I'm patting the color Kinky on the outer third of my eyelid, up to the crease but not in the crease, and you see me just patting with my finger, making sure it's nice and opaque. And then I grabbed my number 18 brush from Sephora collection and put the color Crave on the inner corner of the eye and a little bit on the beginning of my eyelid, because I wanted it there to then add the color Fantasy all over the center of the eyelid. So the color Fantasy is kind of going to make, blend with the color Crave and also with the color Kinky on the outer corner. I grabbed my small blending brush and the color Tease to make sure that the outer corner was nice and dark and defined. And I'm going to also bring the color to the underneath the eyes a little bit. I did not say that right. I'm bringing the color to my lower lash line, basically. So you see me here blending back and forth with my small little blending brush and the color Tease. And I'm going back with the color Lace, which was that first color that we used as a transition. And this one is going to ensure that the bottom part of my eye also looks nice and diffused. The last step in this look is just to intensify the inner corner a little bit more with the color Crave so that it looks very, very nice and bright. And this is the final look, guys. This is look number 5. For this look, I'm wearing the color Uncuffed from Fenty Beauty on my lips. And now that you guys have seen every single look, please let me know in the comments down below from 1 to 5 what look was your favorite. I'm very interested in knowing.
Alright guys, so that is it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Go ahead and comment down below which look was your favorite one. And I forgot to say this at the beginning, but this look right here is not one of the ones in this video, if you guys couldn't tell. And that is because I was very focused on filming my 5 looks and I forgot to film the intro or the outro for this video. So I did my makeup really quickly today just so I could film this part. But this look is very similar to look number 4, except look number 4 is actually even prettier. This one's very basic. Anyways, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up before you guys leave. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!